It's on.
Hey guys, welcome to. Today we're going to focus on ecosystems. Okay. Let me get down to the reader. It's going to be. Okay, so what are ecosystems? Okay, it says community interactions. Living things need one another. They also need non-living things such as air, water, and soil. An ecosystem is made up of all the living and non-living things in the area. The living parts of the ecosystem, such as animals, plants, and microorganisms, are called its biotic factors. The non-living parts of an ecosystem are called its abiotic factors. These include temperature, precipitation, wind, soil, and other non-living things. The biotic factors depend on each other, and the abiotic factors stay alive. So abiotic factors support life are found nearly everywhere on Earth. These factors vary from place to place, which means the ecosystem and the life they support vary too. One important abiotic factor is climate. So living things survive in many different ecosystems. Living things depend on an ecosystem's climate to survive. So climate's the average weather in a place from year to year. Climate affects the kind of things that live in an ecosystem. Montana is cooler than Florida because it's further north from the equator. Its climate is called temperate, which means it's warm in the summer and cold in the winter. Places with temperate climates do not have as much precipitation as tropical places. Fewer living things survive in the wild areas of Montana than Florida. That's because Montana's colder temperature climate makes it harder for all organisms to live there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is land biomes. Most species live best in their own biome. A biome is a large range of similar ecosystem. It has similar climates and living things. The 6 main land biomes are tundra, taiga, grassland, temperate forest, tropical rainforest, and desert. Okay, so the first is a tundra. The tundra is a cold biome with no trees. A thick layer of ice called permafrost stays below the soil all year. Mosses and shrubs can grow here. Arctic foxes, musk oxen, and snowy owls live here. They have thick coats or fur feathers to help them survive the cold. Then we go to the taiga, is an evergreen forest biome just south of the tundra. It's warmer and wetter than the tundra. Ferns and moss along with grasses and flowers grow here. So you guys, just so if you think about it, if you look at like just a map of the world, at the top and the bottom would be the tundra. Then if we're going from the North Pole, you move down, then you get the taiga, and then you keep going down until we get in the middle, and that's where the rainforests are, right at the equator. So just keep that in mind. Or if you look at a globe, if you start at the North Pole and South Pole, those are both extremes. That would be the tundra. Then just if you're coming from the north below that, and if you're coming from the south above that would be the taiga. Okay, then we get into the third one here, which would be so birds, squirrels, and bears live in taiga. All summer they store food and fat for the cold weather. They have thick coats to keep them warm. So some parts of Alaska and Canada, would be that, and that's where you see the bears. So in the grasslands, there's enough rain for grass to survive, but no trees. Grasslands are found on every continent except Antarctica. It can be very cold, very hot, or temperate. Most grasslands have wet and dry seasons. Grassland animals and plants must be able to survive without water during dry seasons. Plant must be able to grow back from the roots after fires. The animals must be able to run fast or hide to survive. Plants and animals live easily in the temperate forest because there's much rainfall and sunlight. The winters are not as cold as the taiga, and their summers are warmer. This biome has trees, grasslands, ferns, brushes. Many insects, reptiles, birds, and mammals live in it. Animal adaptations include thick fur coats, hibernation, migration. Wet Wet tropical rainforests are found close to the equator. Because of the warm temperature and high amount of rainfall, many species of animals and plants live here. This means the biome has great biodiversity. That's why if we go to the rainforest, that's where we have the most plants and most animals. And if you think about it, it's warm and it rains, so it has the water and it has everything you need. And most people probably would prefer to live in a warm climate. And you don't need your thick fur. It doesn't get very cold, things like that. So rainforest organisms work hard to get sunlight, find food, and stay safe. Trees grow taller than other plants to reach the sunlight. Many animals have adaptations to help them find food and stay safe. For example, some frogs have poison in their skin to keep enemies away. Monkeys use long tails and fingers to climb trees for food and safety. Then you have deserts are places that get little or no rainfall. Only strong living things can survive in this biome, usually in special adaptations. Animals find water and seeds they eat. They stay cool by hiding during the day. They hunt at night when it's cooler. Cactuses store water inside their tissue. Their thorns help them keep from being eaten by animals. Okay. Then we have the ocean biome. So water covers almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface. Water biomes include freshwater biomes and saltwater biomes like the ocean. Different areas of the ocean are called zones. Each zone has different characteristics. Organisms in each zone have adapted to become the right life form of these conditions. The intertidal zone is the area right along the shore and water reaches when the tide goes in and out. In the netric zone, the water is shallow and filled with nutrients. Crabs, shrimp, and fish live here. The open sea is the oceanic zone. Most organisms live in this zone, live at the top of the ocean where there is more sunlight. Only organisms that have adapted to the dark, cold water live in the deep oceans. Okay, so what are some of the biotic factors of an ecosystem? So we'll just go back up. I want to go over this. So if we go up to the top, some biotic factors. Okay, so living things need one another, also non-living things such as air, water, and soil. An ecosystem is made up of living and non-living things. The living parts of an ecosystem, such as animals, plants, and microbes, call its biotic factors. So for the first one, biotic would be animals, plants, and microorganisms. That would be biotic. Okay, number two, I think it asks, what are some abiotic? And that would be like climate, and I'll go back up and show you here, just so you get an idea. Okay, so temperature is abiotic, precipitation, wind, soil, and other non-living things. So living things are biotic and non-living things are the abiotic. Okay, so let me see what the third question is. What is climate? What is a biome? What's between tundra and taiga? These are all things we just went over. So I'll let you guys go back and try to answer these. Let me see here. What else? What's the difference between grasslands and temperate forests? So a lot of this is tundra and taiga. It's about temperature. Obviously, the tundra is really like the North and South Pole. So it gets a little bit warmer, you'll have more living things. The soil is a little bit different. Grasslands and temperate forests, obviously, it's the rainfall. Once again, different animals live there. Think about where we live in New York. That would probably be temperate forest. There are trees all over. It doesn't get really cold. It can get cold, and it doesn't get super hot. I mean, for the most part, you think about it, our summers usually 70s, 80s, and the winters are 20s, 30s. Sometimes it gets down to zero, but not very long. We might have like a week where it's zero. Even the summer, sometimes maybe we get a couple days in a row where it's in the 90s, the hundreds. But for the most part, it's pretty temperate. It's usually, like I said, 70s, 80s, winters 20s and 30s. Okay. And this goes back to list the zones in the diagram below. This is about the ocean. Okay, so I want to go back and just show you that real quick. Because we did this in class and I know some people had questions. So the intertidal zone is the area right along the shore where the water reaches the tide, goes in and out. So if we look at this, the intertidal would be kind of right here, okay? You know, this would be the shore here. Over here is the really deep water, and this is the area in between. So this is where maybe your sharks and your whales would live, and here are some of the shrimp and fish. So just the intertidal would be this one right here, because this would be the land over here, just to get an idea. Okay. Abiotic factors determine the types of organisms. Use a desert biome example. So the abiotic would be kind of the precipitation, the temperature, things like that. So animals that live in the desert really have to, like it said, their food they eat, seeds, has to have water. The plants like the cactus have to store water. They have those prickers on them so no one eats them. Animals hunt at night because it's cooler. So those are all abiotic factors that allow you to live in the desert. Biodiversity, which biome has the greatest biodiversity and why? Remember, that would be the rainforest because of the temperature, rainfall. It has everything that basically you need to live. And that's why when we go to the rainforest, it has all the different flowers, all different types of trees, the most animals, insects, reptiles, whatever it may be. You have the greatest diversity of animals and plants living in the rainforest. Okay. And here are all the answers to these questions. So you can certainly go through these, and if you can't get the answers, you can always go down here and check them. Okay. So this is the eco pyramid. I want to just go read this real quick. If you look at it, you have at the top the tertiary consumer, secondary consumer, primary producer. So what this says is an ecosystem is a group of living organisms through their life cycles, in particular environment alongside non-living things. Ecosystems exist because the interaction between these living things and non-living things. In other words, plants and animals all need each other so they continue living. They even need non-living parts of the ecosystem to survive. One important aspect of the ecosystem is the energy that flows. Energy is exchanged between members of ecosystems, creating a cycle and assisting in the continuation of life. However, not all organisms in the living ecosystem absorb equal amounts of energy that travels through the cycle. An eco-pyramid effectively illustrates which type of organisms absorb various levels of energy in an ecosystem cycle. The power of the Earth's sun gets the energy cycle in most ecosystems going. Solar rays enter the Earth's atmosphere and follow the surface where plants utilize the energy from them through a process called photosynthesis. We talked about that. Plants like trees, grass, and brushes create food for themselves. Plants are able to take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and their roots absorb water from the surrounding soil. Plants then use the solar energy with the hydrogen from water to transform carbon dioxide into a nourishing carbohydrate. With photosynthesis complete, food and energy absorbed plants release oxygen, parts of the water they take in from the soil back out in the atmosphere. Other living things like humans enjoy oxygen in the breathing process. The plants of the ecosystem are called autotrophs, which means self-feeders. Okay. So I'm going to stop here and I'll try to bring this up. This talks about kind of, obviously, if you think about it, one way to think about this, if I go back up to this one, so the primary producer, that would be maybe the plants, and then animals like deer eat the plants, and there's all these animals that just eat plants. And then, you know, bigger animals, maybe like coyotes, wolves, would eat deer, and then it's almost like survival of the fittest. Then the bigger animals in some places, like bears, would eventually eat um, the coyotes, the wolves, things like that. So it's almost like you have at the top would be the animals that are like almost like the king of the jungle, even like the lions. Like if you're in the Sahara, you have like the antelope, things like that, eating all the plants. Then you see the lions and tigers eating the antelope, even the rhinos, things like that. Giraffes eat the plants, and lions go after the giraffes. So it starts at the bottom with the primary producer of the plants. Then you have animals that eat the plants, and you have animals that eat that animals. Then you have up top where we would be, we basically eat all those things. We eat plants, we eat animals, things like that. So this is really just kind of like a survival of the fittest, or like I said, king of the jungle. But we will cover this next time in class. Next week, we'll go over kind of this whole pyramid right here, and that's all covered right here in ecosystems. I'll go ahead and post this. So if you want to go ahead and read it ahead of time, you can. If not, I'll make sure we cover this in class on Tuesday. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. I'm going to start social studies here in a little bit. All right, bye.